And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and
I think we
about
lost
reality.
stream.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los
We have to make
Angeles,
a new
it's
link.
Spencer Coburn's The Bald Truth.
It's just going to run that. It's just running on a loop because I turn off the stream.
What do I need to send you?
You may have to make a new link.
Yep, it's done. You got shut down somehow. Okay.
Let everybody know. Apologize. On the behalf of the old idiot.
Fuck. It's like I'm trying to get to the live stream button and it keeps jumping around my screen because everything's loading. Okay, let's try this again.
Okay, so now it looks like we're on. It's so fucked up. Oh, no, it doesn't. All right, I'm going to stop streaming right now. And then
Stop or start?
I'm going to stop.
Oh, I thought you were okay. I thought you already did.
I did, and I started again.
Because that's a link.
And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Coburn's The Bald Truth.
All right, hey guys, I'm not even sure if the live stream is working right now. Joe, can you tell me? Because it looks like there's a full red line on the bottom of it.
Looks.
Is that us? Or is that...
Yeah,
okay.
No, that's streaming. If it's...
All right, guys, let me put the phone lines in. Sorry for the delay, but this is the Hair Loss Show. We were live. I'm Spencer Coburn with my partner in crime, Mr. Joe Tillman, who is live in Vancouver, British Columbia. Okay, it's working. I am live in Los Angeles, and we are almost 30 minutes late for this broadcast, and I apologize for that. My fault, and also some technical issues, as always. But welcome to the show. I'm glad you guys stuck around, and we are here. Now, I actually have to put this link into the Bald Truth website while I do my opening, because I can't just let Joe do it. I'd like to, but he doesn't want to do it yet. It's only been, what, 5 years?
I don't remember being asked to.
I've asked you before.
Did we have this discussion when I was drunk?
We may have. Why should that matter?
It's all about recall power. The power of recall.
You're drunk half the time.
I'm drunk now.
Okay, so I am trying to make this happen while we speak. Guys, if you're new to the broadcast, don't know who we are. We're the Hair Loss Guys. That sounds fucking bizarre every time I say it, but I am the founder of the American Hair Loss Association, the author of two very well-known books, one being The Bald Truth, the first complete guide to preventing and treating hair loss. And is that the name of my book? And the second is The Truth About Women's Hair Loss. first edition of The Bald Truth is published more than 21 years ago. That's how long I've been in this game. Unfortunately, things have gotten a hell of a lot worse over the years. As bad as it was back in 1998, it is a complete cesspool of insanity now. Okay, watch me do my opening while I'm putting this link into my site. That's a pro. I did a Instagram Live broadcast yesterday, just about 5 minutes, because I was, I'm pissed most of the time about what's going on in this field, but I was pretty pissed. I was looking, just scrolling through my Instagram feed, and I come across someone's page, which is essentially an ad. These hair transplant surgeons are out there trying to promote themselves, trying to get your attention. And it was a guy, a well-known doctor, talking about female pattern hair loss, why women lose hair, talking about the fact that a lot of women start to deal with hair loss after menopause, which is true. And then it goes into showing a hair transplant procedure on a woman. Now, there's really no talk about the fact that less than 5% of women dealing with hair loss, including androgenic alopecia, or especially androgenic alopecia that's caused after the hormonal changes of menopause, after issues that could be triggered through childbirth, and of course through the use of birth control. Really not much talk to the reality that most of the women suffering with hair loss will never make a good candidate for hair transplant surgery. You have to be a very specific type of hair loss sufferer as a woman to do well as a hair transplant patient and really benefit from surgery itself. And I think what's important for women to understand is, and I think it's partially because, or a big factor is this Facebook, Instagram, quick fix, weird promotional culture that we have, where people see it on their feed and they believe just because a doctor takes the time to speak into a camera, or they have a large Instagram following or a good marketing team behind them, that they must be the physician of choice. If they promote themselves as being celebrity hair transplant surgeons or celebrity cosmetic surgeons or whatever, plastic surgeons, it is my advice as someone who's been in this field for a very long time and also understands and knows where all the bodies are buried in the mainstream plastic surgery field, if they are starting or leading off with being a celebrity anything, fucking run. 2 reasons. One, have you seen some celebrity hair transplants walking around town? I see them all the time. And these guys contact me after they went to these celebrity hair transplant surgeons and got fucked.
Yep. Because
their assistants did the research, or they found them on Instagram. I actually saw this woman. I couldn't believe it. She did a, it was another Instagram thing. She did a testimonial for a doctor who, this guy's actually pretty good. He's a good doctor. He has a huge Instagram following and Facebook following. But said, listen, I found Dr. So-and-so on Instagram, and that is the reason I decided to go to him. Because because of his popularity on Instagram. Now, she lucked out with this particular doctor. But in most cases, people aren't lucking out. Let me see if I was able to get this updated on my site. So my point is, we got to do something. We got to figure something out, guys. Because if you are making a decision to have surgery based on an Instagram feed, you're a fucking idiot. For the women out there that are considering getting fillers and Botox and different types of cosmetic procedures, who are, commenting on people's Instagram saying, oh, that's so wonderful. How do I get an appointment with you, doctor? You are a fucking idiot. Go ahead, dude.
When I think about this kind of phenomenon, it is a modern day phenomenon for anyone that's been around on the planet for any decent amount of time. There's a part of me that wants to say that if they book a surgery with a cosmetic surgeon or a hair transplant surgeon based solely on an Instagram account, then they almost deserve to have whatever it is that comes to them, because it's such a short-sighted way to do things, especially something so important as getting your fucking face cut by a stranger or your head cut by a stranger. It's like, if you're willing, especially if you're willing to hop on a plane based on some photos that you see on your fucking phone, to go and have the same thing done to yourself, you almost deserve to have. I hate, it's like hearing myself say that. I'm cringing, but at the same time, it's like it's almost going to take some sort of mass disaster like this, all these people getting screwed up, for people to start waking up and realizing, shit, this is more serious than they're making it out to be.
Look, if your doctor is putting out Instagram posts of them dancing around their fucking office with a hat on, you might not want to have surgery with this guy. You know, I am a very fun person. You know what I mean? But the reality is, business is fucking business. And this is medicine. This is the business of surgery. So while it's all fun and good to have these boomerang things, or whatever they're called, people jumping up and down and dancing in their fucking office, if they're using this to market themselves, I would stay as far away from these people as humanly possible.
I look at, I right before the show, about an hour before we went on it, well, excuse me, an hour and a half before we went on air, I uploaded a new video where I'm analyzing the procedure by Zach from the Try Guys here on YouTube. The hell?
Jesus.
And
I told you it was you.
Yeah, it's me. And the surgeon, the doctor in this video, is saying that he doesn't like to call it a surgery because it's so non-invasive. It's not really a surgery.
I know.
And on the video, I'm like, stop. Nope. I'm analyzing the different things that's going on in this procedure. It's like, no, this is absolutely a surgery. And it's happening everywhere. And the arrangement that the Try Guys had with this doctor, whatever it may have been, it's I'm sure it was maybe a procedure in exchange for the exposure, but the idea that it's not surgery, it's actually being promoted. I love the concept of this speakeasy type of barbershop that's going on, but at the same time, I think it's just another push to minimize the fact that it's surgery as opposed to getting your hair done.
Let me tell you this, and this was robotic surgery. In my view, using the robot can be more difficult. Jesus.
I don't know why it's happening.
Using the robot can be more difficult than using smaller manual type or motorized punches. There's a lot more involved in understanding the nuance of that particular apparatus, that device, than there may be in using other devices. It's just the way that it is. So to minimize it as not being surgery, especially robotic assisted surgery, is insane to me. I happen to like this doctor. I know him. I mean, I don't know him well, but he's always been very respectful towards me. He always seems like a very lovely guy, very nice guy. I actually just think that he was taught in the wrong manner. He was provided, in my view, a fucking bill of goods. He never really had the opportunity to understand the entire scope and the possible pitfalls of this surgery. So this is the way it was promoted to him. So this is the way that he is choosing to promote it himself. And in some cases, I can't blame these guys. They just don't know any better. But unfortunately, because of social media and because people are such fucking idiots today, they are lazy. They don't want to do their due diligence. They think because somebody who has a big following decided to have surgery knows what the fuck they're doing because they happen to have a big following.
Yeah.
But this poor guy, I hope to God he does okay. I really do. I hope to God he does okay. But judging from what I've seen so far, I would say that there's a possibility he might not be happy with the procedure. But I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball.
Well, the two biggest red flags I saw was the extraction pattern on the back of the kid's scalp for the
wow, that was something.
Yeah, it was tight, and I don't know how many grafts he got. They never mentioned, but you look at the day 2 after his procedure sequence where he's talking to his buddies and he's showing it off. It's tight, like it's a small area, and I addressed this with some really cool whiz bang special effects on the video, but I'm really concerned about this kid's donor area, like the immediate occipital area, not the sides. I think it looks like it might be thinned out. I don't know. I hope not. Second thing is, well, I won't get into any more of the surgical stuff, but unfortunately, I think I cut most of this. This doctor didn't even know his hair transplant history. He was talking about scalp reductions being the first form of hair restoration before plugs. And then he was talking about FUE getting started in the 90s, and then the robot came along.
I think I need to send a copy of The Bald Truth.
Yes.
I could walk it over to his office, actually.
I was going to say, just throw it out the window. So,
well,
listen, it was interesting.
It's all the guys. We'll take your calls in a second, but it really is. It's just a complete mess out there, and it's getting worse every day. And it's like a fucking runaway train.
Yeah,
that's what it is. And I see the Facebook promotions of the Try Guy's procedure, and also his scalp tattooing and all the shit. I'm just like, I'm cringing. I feel so sorry for young guys who are watching this stuff, and they're going to follow in this poor guy's footsteps. And my hope is that somehow he comes out the other end okay. And I think there's a chance, but from what I observed, and again, I'm not a physician, it seems like he may have had a better chance going another route of really getting a full, dense-looking, illusion of hair.
Well, it would have helped if he had started finasteride more than a month before the procedure. If he had been on finasteride for, I don't know, a year before the surgery, he might not have even wanted to have surgery. That was another thing I talked about.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what's funny? We do our best, man. We do our best. We deal with a lot of hate. We deal with a lot of, bullshit defamation. Doctors, look, I put doctors out of business for years. Just telling the truth. And they get pissed off. It's the way that it is. But this is what we do. Yeah. The problem is that people gravitate towards the fix before the education. And that is always going to be the issue. I was speaking to this guy who's an actor last week, and, he did some interesting stuff prior to, which he was happy with, but prior to, contacting me. And he's very, and I spoke about it last week, he's anti-taking any drugs at all, not just Propecia. And I just really had to explain to him what he has to look forward to and the real possibilities of undergoing surgery, even with the best surgeon and surgical team, if he doesn't at least slow his hair loss down using this drug. Because he's a young guy with significant hair loss. He will never be happy with his result in the end. It just will not happen. It's better if he cuts his losses now and shaves his head, which he still can do, than to go in and have another procedure. And he was smart enough and receptive enough to say, you know what, I understand that. I don't know if he's going to take the risk or not, but he understood it. Most of these young guys do not understand it. And I'm telling you, this is a young guy. This guy's like 36 years old. He started young, like some of these other guys who are starting in the hair transplant world young. And now he needs another procedure just so that he can kind of mock up his hair to look like he has a full head of hair, and using makeup and stuff.
They do a good job of it too. I've seen some of the things he's in, and they did a good job with his hair makeup.
How do you know who I'm talking about? You are really. I'm just kidding. Of course, the guy loves you. You're part of the show. He contacted us.
Yeah.
Let me give out the phone number: 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Look, I'm Spencer Coburn here with Joe Tillman, the original hair transplant mentor, just trying to give you guys some insight, some information about the reality of this industry. I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall half the time, and sometimes I'm just like, why don't I just get the fuck out of here? But then I look at my Instagram feed and I see a guy who's, really has the opportunity to do some good. Promoting hair transplants in women like it's a real option for most women. And it's not. It is not an option. For 95% of the women dealing with hair loss, it is not even close to being an option. It's unreasonable to even think, to put that on the table.
And I'm about to really screw up the days of like a lot of doctors I know. If they are a candidate for a hair transplant, it's usually with a strip.
Well, absolutely.
Snap.
Yeah, but absolutely. But that's another thing, that it's usually with a strip, and it puts these women at a much greater risk of complications, infection, nerve damage, all the things that go along with having an operation. And within a few years, your hair is just going to fall out because you have diffuse hair loss. It's going to miniaturize. And also, you'll never get the density that you want as a woman with a hair transplant. It's almost impossible. I witnessed, and I actually was asked to do a live surgery, and this was for a woman who had no discernible hair loss. She just wanted her hairline lowered, okay? Famous, well-known fitness person. This was years ago. And I see her images today, and listen, she's a beautiful woman. And because she has so much hair behind the hairline that was created, a normal person would never notice any difference. So I don't want her to, if she's watching, to think that she looks odd or anything. But it was a really unnecessary procedure, and anyone who's an expert can see where the grafts are. And I'm pretty sure she may have some styling issues that she wasn't told about. Doesn't mean that she can't style her hair well, but she probably has to do a little bit of maneuvering to avoid having kind of that grafting look, where guys don't, if it's done well, even to that extent, the way it was done with her, a guy wouldn't have to deal with that. It's a completely different animal. Women should not be having hair transplants. And I'm sorry for any of the IHS members who are really, who disagree with me. But I'm here to tell the fucking truth. And if you're transplanting women, you can have a lot of happy, patients, a lot of unhappy patients. That's the way that it is. Joe, by the way, how's my sound today?
It's good. It's good.
Okay, because it sounded a little bit over. It kept clipping last week, and I try to modulate it a little bit for this week. But we'll see what happens on.
No clipping here. Sounds good.
All right. Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's Mordy from South Florida.
Mordy, what's happening, man? Oh. How are you?
Hey, guys. I'm doing well, man.
Good.
Yeah, I got no complaints. We had a nice sunny day after entirely too much rain. Got a nice bike ride in. Very happy.
Dude, if you got no complaints, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah. Oh, you want complaints? I'll give you complaints. I mean, certainly I could do that. So I wanted to, you kind of reiterated this already, but I wanted to bring up some of the details on your review of Zach's hair transplant. Dude, if I go to a McDonald's, okay, and I order food, and the guy who's serving the food has a beard. He's going to wear a cover on his beard. Okay, this is at a freaking McDonald's, all right?
Yeah.
And here's this dude. He's leaning over this kid's head. He's got his arm on his head, and he's kind of reaching over, and he's got his beard exposed. I mean, who knows what the guy had for lunch, for God's sakes? Okay, just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
You know,
How many times did he clean his own beard before he started the procedure?
I know. It's like you're gonna get less stuff on your hamburger than this kid got on his head, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
I mean,
that stuff like that. Stuff like that scares me. I've seen infections that were a direct result of no face masks being used during a procedure. Dude, I remember one time I almost felt like running out of the clinic that I was visiting, where I went to visit a clinic that needless to say didn't make it onto my website. But I was invited to their clinic, and was doing my review, and he started doing this procedure on this patient, and he was the procedure was scheduled to be 3,000 FUE, and patient was laying down face down, right below, right in front of the physician, and not only was there no mask, he's chewing gum, open mouth. Two things wrong with this. Okay, number one, obviously the issue with not wearing a mask and everything that we were just talking about. But the second thing is people that chew their gum open mouth. I just want to punch them in the throat. That is the most annoying thing. It's like chewing with your mouth open, chewing gum with your mouth open, mouth breathing while you're doing all this, and then you're doing a surgery on this guy, and everything's just kind of raining down like hellfire and brimstone into this guy's donor area. I was supposed to be there for 2 days. Man. I left. This is like, holy smokes, man.
Well, and you said something interesting, Joe, that that this particular doctor didn't even understand the history of hair transplant surgery. He's talking about the fact that he doesn't see it as surgery, but you're dealing with thousands of open wounds. You're dealing with the real possibility of infection. You're dealing with while hair transplant surgery is known to be, it's called a clean surgery. It doesn't necessarily have to be a complete sterile environment, but it should be, I believe. I believe it should be as sterile as fucking possible. But it's a clean surgery. But that means masks, gloves, headgear at all time, gowns. Yeah. Your feet should be covered. Your shoes should be covered. If you walk out of that OR, I believe that you should have new, shoe coverings.
Yep.
Or at least take them off and put them back on, and then change your gloves.
Yeah.
This is serious. This is serious shit. It's made out to be like it's a fucking joke. And I understand, and I agree with Joe. The whole kind of like men's grooming barbershop vibe that it has. There's something to be said about that as far as marketing and as far as having kind of, giving a guy kind of a sense of, I don't know. I mean, actually, I don't necessarily agree with Joe, because I actually think that this should be, it should be a fucking, surgery suite. It's a doctor's office. This is real surgery.
It's a cool vibe about the whole thing, but should it be a place for a surgery? No, it shouldn't be. Like I understand what they're going for, and like this whole turn of the century speakeasy type of barbershop thing, it's making a comeback as far as being hip and cool for guys to go into. Hell, there's a place in town here that opened up where you pay a monthly subscription for a clean blade custom shave, and the whole men's care type of package. I get it, it's cool, but it's just not a place for surgery. I understand the approach. I understand what this doctor and his I guess his partner are trying to pull off. I get it, but
well, his partner used to be a sales guy or a marketing guy at Restoration Robotics. I remember seeing him at the conferences, and he used to have a real hipster beard thing happening as well. And I would see this guy, and he wasn't really that friendly towards me, which I found pretty interesting.
It's funny. There are actually some moments during this video that he's sitting next to the doctor and they're talking to the Try guys, and I was watching facial expressions while the doctor was talking. This guy next to him, he had these strange facial expressions, like he was bored, or he was irritated, or he didn't agree with something that was said by the doc. There's an interesting dynamic going on, and it doesn't relate to how he looked at you, but it just reminded me of the facial.
Oh, look, I got nothing against the guy. I'm just saying, I would like to go in there and help them clean that shit up, because they're getting good press. They have the opportunity to really do some good, but let's really do some good. Learn how, at least really be aware of what you're doing. Make sure you have the right team. Learn about this surgery. Really learn about it. If you don't know the basics of even the history of hair transplant surgery, it kind of shows me that, maybe, you kind of just learned how to do this by having the company reps come in and teach you how to use the machine. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
There were so many other things about this video that like the final product that's actually on YouTube that I uploaded today is just a fraction of what I recorded. I spent 3 days straight editing this video down to being a manageable 19 minutes long. I put it all together. I started going through it. I'm like, holy shit, there's so many things I was talking about. It's like, God, I gotta get it down. But I'll say, I do want to say this. I never heard this doctor before. He seemed actually like a nice guy, and he did seem like he was, like I was watching him and what he was doing during Zach's surgery. He seemed like he was into it. He enjoys what he does. That's great. One plus that I noticed, they're using microscopes to examine, refine, and dissect tissue away from the follicles, and that was nice to see. What I was curious about was using an artist robot. I thought that the doctor had to be in charge of the actual machine and not a technician. I don't know what the dynamic is with that.
No, I would say that there's only a handful of doctors who are really taking charge. A guy like Ken Anderson, for instance.
Ken Anderson.
He's actually doing the surgery. He's running the machine. But most of these guys are using technicians to run the machine, and they're just kind of like supervising. And there are guys who are running 2 machines at once, just using techs. They're going to have like a master control room. Now, here's the rub when you're using the robot. I mean, technician's not scoring the skin. So she is really not performing surgery. She's just running a device. So there's as far as the legality is concerned, I mean, that's, at least at this time, at this juncture, that's completely legal. There's no issue at all. As a matter of fact, I could probably go in there and run it. An engineer can go in there and run it and perform all the extractions. What?
I think an engineer has.
Probably. What do I know?
Mordy, you still with us?
Mordy, you still alive? You all right?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, no, I was letting you guys go because everything's being said is really great. The thing I wanted to interject about the whole barber thing, the only thing that I thought about was Sweeney Todd when I saw it.
There is. Jay Jones said the BuzzFeed guy did say, yeah, the BuzzFeed guy did do the same thing, except the BuzzFeed guy went to an IHS accepted member, a guy that really, if you saw the whole process and the way he was explaining hair transplant surgery, he really gave this kid an incredible education, and it was treated as the real surgery that it is. a completely different experience. But yeah, I'm sure that the BuzzFeed guide probably got a free procedure. That's the way it works. But it was a much more, listen, the way all these guys present this, it's as though it's kind of like a walk in the park. But he was pretty honest, the BuzzFeed guy. After the procedure, he was talking about his post-operative issues, and he felt that it was more painful than he thought it was going to be as far as his recovery and the difficulty sleeping and all that stuff. I thought that was really important. So I actually think he did a really good job.
And to Zach's credit from Try Guys, like he really went through and showed his full 1 week post-op swelling journey, where it kept getting worse and worse, and then it started to come down. Another takeaway from this, and I talk about it in the video, is this guy's idiot hairdresser is the one that pushed him toward this procedure, this clinic.
That only was because, so rude.
Oh, he's an idiot. He's fucking like, never listen to your hairdresser when it comes to finding a surgical procedure that's got all that's addressing the issues you're concerned about.
Penile enlargement or hair transplants. Don't listen to this guy.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Like this guy was like, he's like, yeah, I knew the two biggest problems for Zach that he was afraid of was, one, he's afraid of it being surgery, and two, he's afraid of the scarring, and the robot takes care of that.
Oh,
How?
Lord.
How does it take care of that? I don't get it.
Yeah.
And Zach says that's why he went through with this.
Yeah. I really feel bad for this kid because I think, just learning a little bit more, because I mentioned it on the chat, but he basically has ankylosing spondylitis, which is a really severe form of arthritis. To me, that's a red flag that, he's going to have a lot of issues relating to inflammation, and that could be part of the reason.
Immune response, just basic immune responses, inflammation, autoimmune.
Oh, yeah.
He has an autoimmune disease.
Yeah, and so that could be part of why he's losing his hair. It could obviously that has its own hereditary. This kid he's gonna be in a world of hurt for a whole host of reasons besides this, and my heart goes out to him. I kind of feel bad for the kid. But who knows? I just certainly hope he got. I hope he's getting paid. That's all I got to say.
Well, he's probably not getting paid. He got the surgery for free, I'm sure. But here's the thing. Yeah. I think that it's possible that this kid will come away with a decent result, and it may last him for a few years and help him out. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Who knows? I really do hope that's the case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know.
Yeah, I know. One other thing I wanted to mention, the reason I called also was because I happened on Matt Dahlman has just put out a new video about unsuccessful hair transplant, and he reused the Maria Fowler image, the before image. And I wanted to make sure that Joey, that you knew about it, because I don't necessarily know that he had permission to do so.
Well, I didn't know about it, but the thing is it's out there on the web. It's fair use under copyright. Like if he's just using it as a commentary and just talking about it, there's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
And she did get a shit hair transplant, like her first one. So that's fine. Yeah, I'll look at it. I don't pay attention to any of the other guys in the hair transplant space on YouTube anymore. But thanks for telling me. I'll check it out.
Yeah, you should. He's not the worst of the worst, but I don't know. Personally, I don't even know why I watched it. It's just one of those things I stumbled on. I noticed the picture. I was like, hey, that's Joe's image. Is he allowed to use it? So bring it up. But yeah, thanks for putting up that video, Joe. Yeah, and I hope that, has Zach tried to reach out to you guys at all, or He
hasn't reached out to me.
Okay.
I hope he reaches out to Joe. First of all, I don't want anyone to reach out to me anymore. If I'm being honest, I'll do my thing. I'll put out all the content that I can. I'll get my, I every once in a while I'll take somebody's call and Joe, what's going on?
Jesus, man, it's like
sounds like your email.
Yeah, but I have to tell you that no good deed goes unpunished in this field. when you take a lot of time with a lot of people, especially offline, I mean, I would say at least 50% of the time, in my experience, it doesn't turn out well for whatever reason. They don't take your advice, and then they get upset with you for not taking your advice, or they take your advice, but they make certain decisions that I would not make, and then they're upset with you for not telling them not to make certain choices. And you can't win. You can't win.
I hear you.
So you guys take the information that we give you here, and Joe can speak to you guys personally. Except for you, Morty, of course.
Yeah, well, isn't that nice, Spence?
And Nico.
Well, it's great. It's great talking to you guys, as always. I'm going to leave it open for the next caller. Just one last thing. Anyone who gets a hair transplant, wants to get a hair transplant, make sure that the top of your head is cleaner than your hamburger that you get at McDonald's.
All right, Morty. Listen, thanks for the call.
Take it easy.
All right, take it easy.
All right.
Bye-bye. The phone number, 888-659-3727. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hello, Spencer. I'm reaching out to you. I thought I'd tell you that I'm thinking about getting a hair transplant. Because I always like to be lied to, scalped, and then drained of all my money.
Not Joe from Staten Island. How are you, man?
Haven't done it in a while. It's I don't know how good it is.
It was actually very good.
He said, "I don't want to reach
you
out
in a
to
month,
like,
man.
okay,
Where you
here
been?
comes Joe. Okay, so I got injured at work.
What
happened? I've been laid out, and it's a typical thing that you could possibly imagine. I fell off a ladder and bulged some discs, and I still think there's something wrong with my hips and my shoulder. So I've been kind of. I went to Alaska for a while and stayed up with my mom. She was going to help me out through some of the process, and then visited my dad because I just went through kind of a lot of stuff, and I keep missing that. There's been times where I was like, man, that something's going on Tuesday, or I just forget that you guys are there, and then the times I do call, you're not there. I don't know, just missing the mark.
Well, how are you feeling right now?
It's a long recovery, man. I'm walking different, so it's just basically
Jesus.
It's a lot of trying to rehabilitate yourself and do exercises because I can't I'm not getting any more instruction from physical therapists. So it's just I don't know. It's taken a long time. I saw an orthopedic surgeon, so I might be getting cut another way. So, but I don't know. I'm trying not to do that if I can help it.
And are you getting compensated by work?
Workers' comp. Let me put this out there to you, to everybody out there. You don't want to get hurt at work. There's no help coming for you. You've got. I got put in the ringer. I had to get a lawyer because they weren't giving me MRIs. They resist every single type of thing that they can. They'll take you to the ER, and then they'll have whatever doctor prescribed.
Now is this the workplace that I know of, or is this someplace else?
Yeah, it's that workplace. Yeah.
Really? What the fuck are you doing on a ladder?
The guy keeps dry storage up in an attic ladder and it goes to the ceiling. And those attic ladders, they're like, they're almost like emergency rack ladders. They're very flimsy. They're not commercially safe. You're supposed to use them once a year for Christmas ornaments. I go up there every day for 3 years, and the thing's getting rickety. Like, it doesn't even touch the ground till you put your feet on it. And then I don't know, I was going up the top. I was coming down, and it felt like when someone sweeps the chair underneath you in high school and you just fall down, it felt like the thing just went boom.
Wow.
And I tried to catch my fall, and I landed on the left side of my body and my ankle, my knees, but it was the back that's really killing me.
Wow, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear about that.
Huh?
I'm sorry. We're both sorry to hear about that.
Oh, it's okay. I actually called to be a part of the program and tell you some, because I was out for work for so long, and I told you I was going to try and do this short film that I wrote where the guy shaves his head because of his insecurities about baldness, which would, be me if I was, able to fund it. And so since I was out, I said, you know what, I'm not auditioning, I'm not acting, I'm not doing anything. I'll shave my head, see what it looks like.
And
it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I got a lot of gray, because
actually, I think you showed me a picture, right?
Yeah, I sent you a picture.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I mean, I did it when I was young, and it didn't look too bad. But now, when I'm getting older, you got gray hair, and I do have some thinning going on. It's not very noticeable, but I do got a high hairline. So I went out and I bought some Dermatch because you said that's what you use, just to see what that would do. Mm-hmm. Not that I needed it; like it looked fine. Nobody really said anything, but I wanted to try what it would look like, and it looks pretty good with it when it grew out a little bit more. So I just had a little experimentation, and I kind of wanted to tell your viewers, like, you can't be insecure and scared to try new things before you try the worst thing you could try, which is surgery and paying all that money. And I know that I think a lot of people who make these mistakes is because when they decide, another thing that I think happens is insecurity. It's like I just got back from getting checked up, STI and all that stuff at a doctor's office. And you kind of don't want to talk about your personal life to multiple people. And so when somebody opens up about being bald and going to a clinic and, hey, do you want to – I think they kind of feel pigeonholed at some point. I think that some people feel like, well, this guy knows me and, right. I've got a rapport. I don't want to tell somebody else about this problem and walk in and see other cute little girls at the reception desk looking at me, So they kind of like maybe jump at it. But I feel that in the social media influencing is just – out of control.
It's insane. First of all, congratulations on the STI. At least you're having sex. And
wait, he didn't mention what the result was.
I'm clean.
Good for you.
I'm clean.
Yeah, right. Sure you are. Guys, they can't test you for HPV as a man. Everyone's walking around with that shit. It's scary as hell.
I'm pretty sure we all have it. Yeah, it's gonna. But what are you gonna do? I mean, you got to get the D and you got to give the D.
You got to give the D. That's it.
And when requested, you've got to deliver.
And that's it.
The funniest thing is the first doctor who saw me, like the preliminary doctor who does the test and stuff, she doesn't speak good English. And I was telling her, I go, I don't know if it's hot, but I feel a little extra moist down there lately. No dripping, no nothing. I told her all that stuff. And she goes, oh, okay. So then the doctor comes in. Beautiful. Of course, it's a beautiful young doctor, girl, right? And she's like, got stirrups, and she's like, here's a gown. I'm like, whoa, what are we doing? She's like, I got to check you out. I'm like, no, I don't have anything. Drippage. I have no lesions. We were just making small talk. I said, I don't know if it's this heat out here, but and she goes, oh, yeah, she said you probably had gonorrhea or something.
Yeah.
No, I didn't got it.
So I guess you didn't ask her out.
I asked her out after that, and I got thoroughly shot down. I didn't ask her out. I thought about it though. I was like.
To me, that's the perfect thing. She's already seen you. She's already seen you junk.
It's like you just look at it. You've seen the results.
Yeah.
What do you think? You want to take it for a spin?
Right.
Oh,
man. Good.
Well, I am surprised that I had no idea that you were injured, and I'm glad that you called, and you sound like you're doing okay right now, but. Jesus Christ, it's a long situation.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I've talked about it so much. You lose friends because everybody thinks, oh, you're out there, you're not really hurt. Like everybody wants to, everything you do, people perceive it as what they want. It's like, what do you want me to do? Walk around with a cane and go, oh, my back all day long.
You gotta act the part for sure.
Yeah, and so you sometimes lose a friend. They say something stupid, and you're just like, I don't want to talk to you, dude. Get out of my face. It's like, but whatever. I did have some questions though. About I saw a video on Joe's YouTube channel where you recommended a laser cap. Did you position change, or did you see? Because I saw the video and it did kind of give me an idea of what you were thinking. But I was wondering because I knew before it was kind of like it was a little bit like it's in the air and kind of questionable, and I know it's still somewhat like that. But you did say ultimately I recommend trying it. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more on those laser products?
I recommend trying it if you don't want to go down the medical route. Like there are people out there that just like you couldn't pay them enough money to try finasteride. Like they're convinced that if they just hold it in their hand without even taking it out of the box, that their junk will fall off, right? So, and of course I'm being dramatic there, but you know what I'm talking about. Just people don't want to take it. So, if they want to try something as an alternative, there's PRP and there's laser therapy, helmets or caps or whatever.
I wish I had some
and I
tap
feel
dancing music.
like not tap dancing. It's like it's there. There are I've seen results. But it's so inconsistent. It's just inconsistent. Look, the thing is, there are people out there selling it for hundreds of dollars. You can buy them, all over the place for $650, maybe $1,000, even $3,000.
I'm seeing the
about where to go just to buy it for 150. So you can buy it for $150 on AliExpress.
Yeah, I'm seeing ads now on CNBC, Fox News. Yes, I watch all the news channels. Sorry, I like to actually be fair and balanced. And I'm seeing like where they have you have catheter ads and you have laser cap ads now, and and also reverse mortgages on all these channels. So Capillus now is advertising on television like it's some new fucking breakthrough. You got Dr. Leonard from Rhode Island as their spokesperson. And the way that it is explained, in my view, isn't really, again, this is just my opinion, isn't really based on science. It's based on what we have all been kind of told as to why these things may work. Increased blood flow, things of that nature.
Yep.
And I just squirm when I see it. And look, there's plenty of IHS members who sell laser caps, who believe in low-level laser light therapy. I still can't get fully behind it, even though I have seen some, I guess, anecdotal results. I just can't get behind it yet. But I think Joe is right. And, we spoke about this first here, I think, on The Ball of Truth. And maybe I brought it up. I don't know. Maybe Joe did. But, you can get, I think I did because I said I'm going to start selling them. I could buy them in bulk. I could buy them in bulk for like $12, $18 a piece, 240 diodes, laser diodes, just, the best of the best that they're selling for $3,000. I could slap the American Hair Loss Association seal on it, whatever I want to do. And I can sell them for $150 and make a fortune.
Yep.
Or you can buy a single laser cap from one of these Chinese companies for about $150 yourself.
So see, that's what I've always appreciated about you. I mean, like, for all the listeners out there, I mean, he's not lying. I mean, that's money in the bank. I mean, my friend bought one. He paid, I think, $700 for his, and his only has it's that one with LED and LED and
laser.
What's the other one?
It's a hybrid.
Huh? Yeah, the hybrid. It's got it looks. You know what it looks like? It looks like just like the Spaceballs helmet from the movie Spaceballs. It's like a big white one. I swear to God, he took a picture and sent it to me. I was like, ludicrous speed.
You can go online right now, and you can go to Alibaba.com or one of these places, and you can pick out a helmet, all these things that are basically white labeled, or that you can label yourself if you want, and they're all the same. They're all the same. There's different levels of diodes, different numbers of diodes, but the diodes and the strength of the diodes are exactly the same as what you will buy in a doctor's office. They're cat toys, just configured in a very easy-to-wear way. That's it.
Super glued into a freaking helmet.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Look at the specs for any of the laser products out there for hair loss, and then go down to Staples and pick up a laser pointer, or go to the pet store where you can get a laser cat toy, and look at the label. It's 550 to 650 nanometer wavelength, 0.5 watt. I forgot what the specifics are. Output and 5 nanometer wavelength. I forgot the details, but it's the exact same, class of laser, exact same power output, exact same nanometer wavelength across the board. You buy 200 cat toys, super glue them to your cap, you got a laser cap. It'll do the exact same thing.
But listen, not Joe from Staten Island. The reality is, I do consider it. I do consider it sometimes, and I'm thinking all right, listen. These fucking people are going to buy these laser caps anyway. Why not provide them with something that's really top of the line for a very inexpensive price? why not do it? I mean, and just tell them, look, I don't know if this shit works, but if you're going to buy one, buy it from us because at least we're helping people.
Hey,
Hey, man,
actually,
I would
this
do
is
it. I
this
would
is
buy one
the
from you.
Yeah.
this is the app. It's a picture of us going.
I don't know if this shit works.
Shoulders? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
It's like, why not? Give it a try. Before spending $20,000, why not you spend $400 here?
Yeah.
See if it works.
If it works, let us know.
Look, I will. I mean, buying airtime in bulk on cable now, it's so fucking cheap. I'll bankroll the whole thing. Okay, we'll do it. It'll be the only cap that's endorsed by the American Hair Loss Association. We win. We fucking win. That's it.
You guys got to do a boomerang with the caps on your head and lightsabers in your hands,
dude. I'm not even joking. We have a private Facebook group that's for members and people in the industry, mostly physicians. And I had to, and Joe laughed at it because I sounded so like, my cadence was so monotone and just disgusted. And it was a physician who is supposed to be a so-called leader in this field doing like a boomerang Instagram ad for weekend, it was like a weekend sale on Botox and fillers and all kinds of shit like that.
Oh.
And he's dancing around. It was just, it's that. I basically said, listen, this is the field in a nutshell. This is what you're dealing with. You guys are all fucked. And I just kind of just went off into the distance, depressed. But that's the reality, man.
You sound like Harrison Ford on the Christmas special, the Star Wars Christmas special. He hated it so much. It was so idiotic and stupid and lame that when he delivered his line, he's like, "Only you can do this on the Christmas Day special," and he had literally no delivery.
Yeah, I basically said, I put the video up there, which everyone was shocked that I would do that because apparently it's so disrespectful. And I just said, look, guys, this is, I can't even believe that this is reality. This is supposed to be a leader in your field. This is supposed to be a guy who's trying to save the field with some bullshit campaign that you guys are putting together. And I just went off on, I don't know, Joe, what do you think the reaction was? I mean, we got some likes.
You got some likes, but it was mainly crickets.
Yeah.
Remember when doctors used to come to the house with the leather purse and they had all their stuff and they were revered and respected. Yeah, and they carried themselves with manner and
fucking dignity.
And it was just, that purse is now turned into Twitter, Instagram, cell phone selfies, and stuff like that. It's just and it's winning over the young people's money.
Look, if I don't want to see my fucking doctor dancing around with a red cup. I do not want to see that. One of those red beer cups that you have at parties?
Yeah.
As a kid?
At the parties, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
The beer pong cups.
Yeah, there's one guy, and I like this guy. He's a nice guy and all. He's a local guy here in L.A., and he's dancing to some idiotic music in his OR because they were able to get a certain number of grafts into this patient. And that was the Instagram post. And I'm telling you, I'm a fun dude. You get me out there, you've seen it. I'll get loaded. I'll have fun, But I mean, this is surgery.
He is pretty fun. I will vouch for you. That is true.
I mean, I'm not a prude by any stretch of the imagination, but you're fucking doctors, man. Have some fucking dignity.
Have your fun, but don't have an Instagram camera around when you do.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. You have more respect for somebody who conducts themselves with professionalism when they're on the clock. And then maybe, if you know them personally off the clock, they're like, yeah, fuck it, I scalp people for a living. I get $1 billion a year. It's then you're like, I get it. He's unloading. But when they're doing it in front of your face, and the chewing gun, dude, that infuriated me. When I heard chewing gun with his mouth open, I would fucking get up. I'm not shitting you. And I would look him in the eye, and I was all, swallow it and get a fucking mask on. I probably would stop though. There's just no way that you could trust them to do a good job.
Dude, this guy's come over to me in a restaurant saying you're chewing with your mouth open.
Hilarious.
No, but
Yeah,
the entire we're living in a world. It is like fucking a Black Mirror episode, man. I mean, this is an insane fucking world that we're living in now, and we're talking about decisions people are making that will change their lives forever based on the number of followers a doctor has or a clinic has and the bullshit. I mean, there are reality shows now. There's this one plastic surgeon that just became huge on Snapchat and Instagram, and they gave him a reality show. And if you read about this person, I'm not even going to get into it. I don't feel like a lawsuit, but you have to be a fucking moron to trust your body with anybody that needs that type of attention in order to garner a business for his practice.
Yeah.
The sad state of affairs is that doctors on the forefront of their minds now is to be a celebrity. Like, if I do my job good enough and I make, a difference, or if I look apart, I'm going to be a celebrity with my Instagram, my Facebook. I'll be on the doctor show, and then I'll get a reality show.
Yep.
That's what they want. And it's like, now you're attracting a different, there's a reason why we call lawyers bloodsuckers and psychiatrists shrinks and cops pigs.
Well, by the way, this is a great fucking segment that I should put on my fucking Instagram. By the way, we're talking about, or maybe we're joking about Instagram. I have to set it. I don't have my fucking thing set up here. I should go live right now.
You got to fight fire with fire. Only putting out the good information, and you may reach some people that are being affected by that negative information that they don't even know is negative until somebody else shows them the other way. So I would encourage you to do it.
Oh, well, no, I do it all the time. But I'm saying I've been trying to go live on Instagram, and like we're the only. Basically, what I would have to do in order for my viewers to listen to you live, I have to kind of press my mic button on and off so that it goes through the monitors. So I kind of jerry rig it. But I did that last show, and we got a lot of viewers on Instagram. It was pretty cool. But I'm just saying, you happen to be a really great caller talking about something that's really important.
Well, so when you have a profession like doctors, lawyers, and all that, you want a person that is acclimated to helping people and having an affinity towards understanding the medium that they're going in. You want them to be professional, intelligent, and caring. But what comes along with some of those jobs, like police officers, psychiatrists, lawyers, is power and money. And that, unfortunately has a side effect of attracting people where money and fame and ego steps in front of the hard work to get there and the proper curve that you need to be on, the trajectory you need to be on to be a valued member of society in those fields. And so it's just like with acting. That's why you find people with, damaged homes and abused lives. I made this other analogy about porn stars and MMA fighters. MMA fighters are very similar to porn stars. They've been abused.
I'm going to listen to you. This is great stuff. I just want to get a little piece of equipment here. So I'm going to put Joe on. You'll see him, but I'm listening.
Back up a sec. You said something about porn stars. What?
There's a lot of reasons why porn stars, it's all known that why they get into the industry is because they've been abused in some way or have a bad family life. And a lot of the same thing happens with a lot of MMA fighters, male fighters. It's very similar. Right. Where's a man's power?
Well, that's true of any sort of like boxing, MMA. It's a lot of the participants do come from broken homes or just trying to fight their way out.
They want to prove themselves to be the biggest, strongest man in the world. And the women's power is their femininity, their sexuality. And so psychologically, they're looking to, to hone those traits and to show people this is my value, my worth, because they weren't put in a proper environment to actually see where real true value and worth comes from. And so that it's the same thing with these new wave doctors and all these medical procedures, all these things that are going on in the world today that is negative towards the patient. It's the fame, the fortune, the notoriety, the likes, the perhaps the environment that's going to do more for them than ultimately it is individually for each individual patient. Sure, they'll get a couple of good results and they'll post it on their Instagram, their Facebook, or their website, and then they'll turn it out like this is what we do to all our patients. But it's
that's one of the oldest tricks in the book. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you look at any gallery on a website. Even back in the day when clinics didn't have websites, they had books like photo albums, like literal photo albums that you flip through, like you're back at grandma's house looking at pics of your family from 30 years ago. Same thing. It's like, oh yeah, all these represent what we do on a daily basis. Horse shit. Everything that you see in that photo album or everything you see on the Instagram account, it's the best results that they can find. And some of these places, and there's nothing wrong with it, but some of these places will have people actually employed with the one job of contacting patients to get those after photos so that they can post them online. Now, I'm not against that, because I think that the more results that a clinic can push out to show consistency, then I think that's actually a good thing, because it shows you that the 3 patients that they put up last year aren't, anomalies, and you can feel better about going to them. But it goes beyond. I mean, we're talking about, I don't know if you heard us before, but it goes beyond the Instagram. I mean, that's what we were talking about before with the problem of how people are finding their hair transplant surgeon today. It's because of their Instagram account. 3 years ago, it was because of their Facebook account. And it's morphing. And next year, a couple years from now, who knows what it'll be. But no one's digging deep into what's behind that picture. That's no bigger than what they can see in their phone. When I was doing research and I was getting to this, I met patients, and then on top of that, it's like, looking at images day in and day out until I got, an overload of my brain from looking at this stuff. Today, it's like, oh, that looks good. Yeah, I'll go there. Or fly there, even long distance travel based on an Instagram account. It's ridiculous.
Look, the bottom line is you have to be a complete moron to commit to having surgery based on a fucking Instagram account, based on the fact that this physician has more followers than another physician. If I see a physician on a red fucking carpet, he's crossed off the list, man. That's it. They're working so hard to be a celebrity. Go ahead.
I swipe all day on dating apps. All day. Swipe, swipe, swipe. It's no different if you go to one of those surgeons from their Instagram and those social media accounts than when you swipe on the dating apps. The girls are filtering themselves. They're angling themselves. They're lighting themselves. They're showing if they're smart, they're showing the best possible look that they can get. And you know what? I've gone on dates where this lady looked thin. She looked beautiful. And I'm telling you, she was 250 pounds, 5'6". And that's fine. I'm not, I'm not trying to make fun of overweight people or short people or
no. But they're misrepresenting themselves. That's the point that you're making.
Exactly. That's the problem. She wasn't honest, and that's the same thing that these doctors do with that stuff. It's no different than that. And you've got to be a detective. I go into it like this. I want to see your ugliest. I want to see how I'm going to get screwed over. Some people want to be fooled. They want to be sold a bill of goods that seems to make them feel good, as opposed to doing as you say, your due diligence and looking deep into it and wanting to be scared. I want to be scared away from it. I want to be, and if they can impress me not to be, then maybe I'll think about it. But a lot of people don't want that. They want just tell me what I want to know. Tell me what like a mother who doesn't want to know their child is a bad child in school. It's like just give me the good grades and say he's good when I come to open school.
Well, here's the thing that I found fascinating, that these physicians, cosmetic surgeons, plastic surgeons, facial plastic surgeons, hair transplant surgeons, who do well on social media, the people that take the time to comment with claps and oh my God, this is so wonderful, what great work, they're seeing in my view, some of the most obviously I'm not going to say doctored, but well lit and then poorly lit, or poorly lit before then well lit after, or vice versa, before and after images I've ever seen. I mean, it is hair transplant and cosmetic surgery marketing 101. It is so deceptive. And these people who somehow develop these relationships with these doctors on their social media page are just, they're enamored by them. They become like these bizarre celebrities. It's like the new fucking normal. And they just forget that this is for real. I can't even tell you. I was talking to a celebrity, a guy that contacted me, actually two guys, but one guy that contacted me last week. And one guy that I spoke to went to a so-called celebrity hair transplant surgeon and was fucked up. But this guy is dancing around on Instagram and on all of the other social media networks, and like nothing happened. And these poor people are just falling for his shit.
It's, you know what? It's just like the Kim Kardashian and Jessica Rabbit bodies that are out there on Instagram. Their butts are super hourglass, like super cartoonic, like characteristics. Like if you went to Magic Mountain or wherever, and the cartoonist drew exaggerated body, but that's how they're making their bodies look with surgery, right? And I'm telling you, I dated this girl. She's like 45 or something, around my age, and her daughter's around 20, and her daughter's in her mother's ear telling her she needs to have surgery. She needs to do this. And this girl's, I'm telling you, if I send you this picture, I will later. This lady's beautiful, big. She has big fake tits, but she's beautiful, great body, and she's thinking about surgery to put fat in her ass. And I'm like, why are you doing this? She goes, my daughter's telling me, she goes, guys don't take you seriously, Mom, unless you look like this. That's what they're programmed to believe.
Well, there's this new normal. There's this new normal that's been created by the cosmetic surgery, and like you said, the Kardashians, social media, Instagram, all that stuff. The reality is, a Brazilian butt lift is what you're talking about, is considered one of the most dangerous cosmetic procedures. Even though it seems very straightforward, all we're doing is we are injecting, doing liposuction and injecting your own fat into your glutes, essentially. Yeah. But there are so many different branches of veins and blood vessels and different nerve endings in that particular area. People are dying to get bigger butts, and
even those, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Even those that are successful, like Kim Kardashian, who has $1 bazillion, and I told her this is my counter to her thoughts of doing it. I said, Google Kim Kardashian's body unphotoshopped, because she pays a paparazzi to go out there and take her own paparazzi, take pictures, look candid, and then they Photoshop it so she looks good. You look at those pictures unphotoshopped on the beach, she looks like a sack of potatoes and cottage cheese. It looks, and she's skinny. She has no muscular tone. It's just like, she looks skinny, fat, lumpy. And then the parts that are wide are just dimples all over her ass and all over those places. But when you see her pictures on Instagram, you see her pictures out there, they're smooth, they're just like caramel glazed over a donut.
Look, I'm not going to say anything, but I actually, one of the Kardashians bought a home right across the street from my place in Calabasas, and beautiful young girl, but none of these people actually look the way that they look on camera. I mean, stunning. Absolutely beautiful person.
We'll be talking about positive body image.
Well, the point is this: they're most of them are advocating surgery by the way that their bodies look. They're saying this is what you could look like with money, and that's why when people get money, these young people or anybody influenced by the influencers, that's why they go and get these hair transplants and do all these things based upon the Instagram and the social media. And that puts them into this pool, which is dangerous for them because they don't really know the dangers. And I told her, I go, putting fat in your ass and taking it out of your stomach or wherever else is not going to stop you from shoving a pizza and a hamburger in your mouth. You still got to learn to eat right. You still got to lose that weight naturally. And nobody but God makes your body look the best if you eat right and work out. It'll look the best it can be.
I want to make it clear. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to make it clear that I am all for plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, hair transplant surgery, if you're the right candidate, if you are emotionally equipped and you understand the entire scope and possible pitfalls of these procedures. But these people are unaware of it. And when you see guys online, well-known people who are doing specials for Botox and for fillers, these women have no fucking clue what long-term use or even short-term use of certain fillers do to these poor women, especially when you start using them young. You are essentially aging yourself rapidly. You're creating pockets in your face. So you have, when you inject these fillers, depending on where you inject them, let's just go for lip augmentation, which I don't mind. I think, it could look kind of sexy if it's done well. But you got to realize that you're inflating these lips, and then they're deflating, and then you're inflating them. And with each inflation, you're creating larger and larger pockets. Eventually, what do these women need? They need their lips to be reduced, which is a surgery. They're all fucked up, and they're essentially disfigured. And that could take between 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, but I've seen it. And the reason why a lot of these women are getting bigger and bigger lips is because they need to fill in those pockets.
I was gonna say it's like a drug addiction. You need more and more to get that high, and that's exactly what goes on with a lot of this cosmetic surgery.
But it's not. I don't mean to cut you off. It's not even the high. It's that. But also, you actually, in order to fill that space, you need more material.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No, it's not a high. But what I'm saying is, once it wears off, once it reduces naturally over time, you got to go back in and you got to do more just to maintain some sort of semblance of what you had the previous week. You have to keep going back and over and over to maintain, and you got to use more and more of the material. That's my analogy towards drug addictions.
And not Joe from Staten Island and I. We live in L.A. We're in the heart of L.A. We see it all. So I'm in, from Calabasas to Beverly Hills, and the level of I even hate to use the term, but it's true, just disfigurement that I see every day of these really beautiful young women who, for the first few times they look good, but then they keep needing different touch-ups. And then eventually it's and this is not to judge them because I understand the pressure, but and the new normal that's been created by society. But I wish people would just stop. And, you got to blame the physicians for pandering to these trends. But partially they're forced to as well because surgeons, real plastic surgeons, aren't really performing surgery anymore. They're doing all of this so-called non-invasive stuff because they're being pressured to do so and to compete and to make a living. So go ahead.
Would you guys add the word gamble to these surgeries? I mean, because I absolutely think that if I say, would you say it's a gamble to go get this surgery? I think we would all say yes. But you never hear that from anybody because nobody likes to gamble and lose, But yet they don't want to take that into a consideration when they're going to do this type of surgery. That's exactly what I would tell myself. You're gambling. You're gambling with your head. You're gambling with your money. You're gambling with your health. And, it makes perfect sense when you go into any type of surgery that's not, cosmetic. People, oh my God, I got to take anesthesia. I got to be under, and they make me sign this paper that says I could die. But when it's something like that, it becomes an addiction. It's like a new tattoo or a new pair of shoes, and and they don't see the gradual changes in their face. They accept, okay, now I got sort of bigger lips. Now I got even bigger lips, and they see the gradual change. And then one day you look at them and you're like, my God, you look like someone took a bat to your face. It's like
I go to the club, which is like a bar in the building where my studio is, and I see these girls, and I'm talking about. I mean, some of these people, they're smoke shows, but it's already started. The enlarged, almost abnormally, pronounced cheekbones. That's really the first thing, and the lips. That's what a lot of these girls do, and also the prophylactic use of Botox, which people are selling you on. Well, if you start early, you're not going to have these static or dynamic, formed wrinkles, and you're going to protect yourself from wrinkling. You're essentially, if you keep your muscles, your facial muscles, frozen, unable to move the way in which you're supposed to move for a long period of time, what do you think happens? They atrophy. It's like being in a wheelchair. So you actually will lose, even though it's a small amount, you will gradually lose some volume. You also need more and more of the product for it to have the same effect. And the longer you are injecting botulism into your body, the greater risk of actually dealing with a allergic or even a poisonous reaction. Shit that no one talks about. I think all these products are great if they're used properly.
I was going to say, I miss hair on a vagina. I haven't seen it in a long time. And
That's old
I do
school, and
think
I kind of miss that too, to be honest with you.
Miko
You know,
F in
it
the
just
chat room
remi-
says, "Remember when Meg Ryan was cute?"
No plastic surgery shaming. You know, I just think what we really have to do is just, and that was funny, by the way, Nico. But what we really have to do is just try to educate people about the reality of what is going on. They are seeing, you know, right now I am streaming live on Instagram, but besides doing the Ball Truth and doing, you know, the YouTube feed, I decided to put the camera on just to see, you know, and we have some viewers. People are seeing all this stuff. Plastic surgeons, cosmetic surgeons, facial plastic surgeons, cosmetic dentists, they're putting all the shit on their Instagram feeds, and people are following them like they're celebrities. They want to see what they're going to be putting up next. And just seeing somebody in their scrubs performing surgery doesn't mean that they're good. Just seeing a before and after image or some sort of fucked up testimonial by some idiot who just got out of the chair doesn't mean shit. Talk to them a year later.
Yeah, talk to them a year later. And that's one of my big peeves about these before and afters or these testimonials. Like most of the testimonials I've noticed on Instagram, they are these guys that have just gotten out of the chair, and maybe even a group of guys that came together and are about to hop on a plane back to, you know, wherever they came from. They have no clue what they just went through. They have no clue what's going to happen in a year when the full result is out. And they're all standing around like a bunch of idiots with their big thumbs up with their doctor pointing each other as if it means fucking something.
Well, you know what's great about that is like when the physicians are basically essentially, I call it leading the witness. They're like, you had a great experience, right? It was painless, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it was painless.
Programming.
Yeah, and we treated you really well, right? And you really enjoy it, and you love us, and you want to be here with us all the time, right? Because we're such great people. Yeah, nodding their head up and down. Leading the way.
I keep trying to figure. I'm pushing my mic, and then I have to take the mic off so you guys can be heard on Instagram. And I realize that I'm kind of fucking it up a little bit. So sorry, people who are listening on Instagram. Go ahead, guys.
Not to mention
Trent. Sorry, 1 second. Trendsetter in the chat room says, "I wonder if women had male pattern baldness, what kind of treatments would there be?"
They do have male pattern baldness.
They do have
female pattern hair loss.
How old? Ask him how old he is. When you get older, you see it. You see it on. I see it almost on every woman I date. They're covered it up. They got tracks in the back of their head, or they're teasing their hair more, or they're pulling their head tightly back into a bun so that it can cover up the light areas. I mean, they do lose hair. We all do.
Absolutely, but they're actually lose hair in the pattern of male pattern hair loss, and they're just as good of a candidate as any guy because they typically don't lose it in the donor area like most women do that don't have the male pattern. They have the female unpatterned hair loss.
Well, that's part of the 5% of women who actually do make candidates for hair transplant surgery. And for those who watched the broadcast yesterday, I was talking about that and kind of went on a rant about that because it's promoted as though every woman who has hair loss can have a hair transplant. That is not true. There are a couple of candidates, women who have distinct male pattern where the hair in the back, they have like a donor wreath like a man that's strong and DHT resistant. That's very rare. And women who have had facelifts, different types of scarring alopecias, potentially, as long as it's not an active scarring alopecia, trichotillomania, burn victims, shit like that. These can make decent candidates for hair transplant surgery. But if you're just getting the widening part, the recessed hairline, the kind of like part that goes all the way down to the back of your scalp, you're not a candidate for a hair transplant. And anyone who would perform it on you knows that. So they're willing to scar you for life, give you possible nerve damage, take $10, $20, $30, $40,000 out of your pocket. You're going to be wearing hair anyway. Period. Mm-hmm. I wish these broads would understand. Broads. That was terrible. I wish these broads would understand this.
I want to say something. I don't want to come off as women bashing because I love women, and I really want to empower them to consider being natural. That's why my comment of I miss hair on vagina. I actually do. Like back in the day in the 70s, it was kind of sexy. I saw a poster of a girl and she was bikini fully dressed, but she had her little string bikini, her one thumb in the bikini, pulling it down just enough, and you could see a little black bush sticking out. And I'm sorry that maybe sound grotesque to some women, but to a male, that was very much a turn on. And what I'm basically trying to illustrate is with the surgery, with the hair transplants, with lip injection, with collagen, or whatever you call it, the stuff, the fat implanting the butt, all that stuff. Like, honestly, like, I have the best time with a woman who's confident in her own skin and is naturally aging. And if there's a connection between us, that means more to me than somebody who's always pampered and made up and worried about if their Instagram is on point. Like, honestly, like, age gracefully, and that's coming from me. I've been with strippers who have been tatted up and down, makeup all up and down. I've been with a model who is naturally beauty. I've been with, and the ones that stick out most in my head are the, and I don't want to say average, but the average everyday woman, Jane, who is confident in what they do and is connected with me and walks in a way which is sexually, naturally sexy, you know, is a femininity to them. And I think that women should consider that instead of trying to chase these dreams of being perfect. You're not, but it's starting to look like sex dolls. Those, like, I mean, that's what they look like walking around, you know, and maybe not in every part of the United States, but
no, here in Los Angeles, it is the Stepford, like, you know, like slash porn star, just like with the huge, you know, it's almost like the bigger the purse, the better they feel. The bigger the lips, the better they feel. It's a bizarre new norm. Now, listen, I'm all for women looking really good, doing themselves up, looking very sexy. I understand if a woman is dealing with hair loss that she wants to, you know, to try to do something about her hair loss. That is really very reasonable. I am fine if someone is very unhappy, obviously, with the projection of their nose, for instance, or if they have a very weak chin and it really makes them feel exceptionally uncomfortable. But when you're dealing with someone who's basically perfect, which a lot of these girls are, born with incredible beauty, and then they're made to feel less than, not by men, but by other women.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's true. That's exactly how.
You know, I mean, Jesus Christ. And listen, look what I do. Look what I do. I mean, I have half a can of hairspray on today. I get it. I've been dealing with hair loss since I was 21 years old. I take medication every fucking day. That's it, to keep my hair. I understand that. That's why we do this program. But what we want to do is just let people know that this is real shit. This is real surgery. Everything you're doing to your body has a consequence. So making a decision based on what you see on Instagram or YouTube or in a message forum or on fucking Reddit to get yourself cut open and seeing a coupon on what is that thing called? Coupon play.
Groupon. He's talking about Groupon.
Oh, Groupon.
Groupons.
Yeah.
I know plastic surgeons and hair transplant surgeons that are doing Groupons.
Yep.
It's unfucking believable.
You can find massage hand jobs on the Groupon too.
Oh, that's good to know. Actually, I didn't know that.
Those things are rampant. They're up everywhere. They're everywhere. They're going there because I have to get massages for my legs.
Mm-hmm.
They're up everywhere.
Not to throw you off. I mean, they're on every corner. Like, you walk in, and I can always tell when I walk in if they're a legit place or.
Well, I mean, if they're blacked out, all these places around here.
Exactly. Yeah. And that the lady comes in, she goes, "Hi, honey. Oh, come in," and she puts her arm around me like we're going to the prom, and she tries to put a chocolate in my mouth, and I'm like, "Not with those hands, baby." And I was like, "No, I'm just looking at your prices." It was the most bizarre thing, but I didn't mean to throw you off.
Well, you didn't. I mean, I'm trying to. I have to kind of put my monitor on and off, and so there's gonna be a slight disconnect. But we're gonna take another call in a second. But I do want to make it clear. First of all, you're talking about the rub and tug places. As a normal person, especially living in this world, I would be so paranoid to go to one of those places because everything's on fucking camera now. You're going to be on Pornhub. That's it.
Well, I didn't say I used their services.
But before you go, I was going to ask you a few questions. They're quick questions because I wanted to get your feeling. You were talking about your hair, and your hair looks nice all the time. And I know you got down to science, but how long does it take you every day to do your hair, and then including maintenance throughout the day?
78 minutes. 78 minutes a day.
7 to 8 minutes?
78.
78? Is that a joke, or is that
no, it's a joke. It takes me with blow drying, like today, and it's not perfect. Mm-hmm. I don't feel it's perfect today, but like today, I was late for the show. It took me about 20 minutes to blow dry and then style my hair. Maybe about I would say maybe about 15 minutes. It takes about 6 minutes to blow dry. I've timed that.
So what about maintenance throughout the day? Like if you go somewhere and you got to look it up, touch it up again, how much time do you put in that?
Maintenance
maybe
is
another 5, 10?
Once it's sprayed shut, it doesn't move. My hair hasn't moved since 1987.
Okay, so once you do it, you obviously don't go into a pool. You don't, unless it's your own private pool and you want to go swimming, but you don't necessarily go into a pool, right? You keep it like that. You'll never get it wet, right?
Oh, no. Well, yeah, I'm kind of like a black woman in that way. I don't want to get my hair wet. And if you've never dated a black woman, then you don't know what I'm talking about. You cannot get their hair wet. But
someone needs to do a cartoon of you sleeping with your head on your hand.
I'm like a geisha. I'm like a geisha. Go ahead.
If you watch the comedic show Friday, Ice Cube's sister in that movie, she in the very beginning of the movie during the credits, she's sleeping because she doesn't want to mess up her hair on her palm of her hand, and I didn't know why. And then she almost falls down. She gets back up, like when you're nodding off. But that's how she sleeps.
No, my reality is I am at a point in my life where I will, like if I'm here where I am right now, there's a pool and all kinds of stuff, and it's public. Basically it's the people have offices and residents here, and I have no problem jumping in a pool and getting my hair wet. It's just the way that it is. I just can't. It's just wet, and unless I pull it all the way back, you kind of just look like a guy with wet hair. So I can kind of just shake it around and kind of looks normal. I'm not that concerned about people seeing me with my hair wet. The thing is, it just has to be restyled in order for me to feel like, I got my mojo going. That's it.
So my question would be, because of asking those questions, is like, it takes you a certain amount of time to do it, and it's prideful. It's your hair. Are you ever going to get to a point where you think, I'll try a hair system? I'll do a little extra maintenance. Maybe I don't have to do as much when you add it up throughout the whole week. You put a system on, and you still kind of deal with the same kind of things that it sounds like you're dealing with. You have to watch out for it. You have to make sure it's done right, and you're pretty much not going to swim with it, but you probably could kind of get into a pool. Is that something you ever think about yourself, or
I'll give you complete disclosure. I say this on the show all the time. There was a time when I bought from what's the name of that company, Coolpiece.com, a little yarmulke system just to see how I'd feel, instead of having to dummy up the back of my head and do all the hairspray. And it was cool. It just wasn't. At the time, it wasn't for me. I just wanted to see, experience it, see what it was like. So the answer is absolutely. Look, I want to be a guy who has a full-looking head of hair for as long as I can. And I also want to avoid surgery for as long as I can. If I get to the point where, okay, I have the option and I know that I'm not going to lose a lot of my native hair, and if I lost a lot of hair, then of course surgery is a great, for me, I would be a good candidate for surgery. Period. I have great donor. I have a lot of hair. I'm in my 50s. So I would and I can have anybody in the world do it. And it wouldn't cost me anything. So I got as many procedures as I want.
Would you consider shaving before that?
But I would absolutely, my first step would probably be to cut it down as short as I can, see how I feel, see if I've matured into that. Mm-hmm. If I feel like I didn't look good, maybe I would get, I could use like maybe thicker eyebrows. That would help with a shaved head. So maybe I would use some of that donor for the eyebrows, see how that worked out. That would probably be the first surgery. And then see if I could shave my head. And, but when people ask about hair systems, that's not off the table. I think it's sad that it's something that is not accepted in our culture. When women, if they're losing hair and they wear hair, they're empowered. They're like, it's like, you go, girl, put that hair on.
And it's so common. Like so many women are wearing extensions and partial wigs, full wigs. It's everywhere. Like I can pick out the full wigs. That's easy for me. Sometimes I can pick out the partial stuff. Sometimes I can pick out extensions. Just the way that it lays. But it is everywhere.
You can pick out extensions from a mile away. There's not a woman in LA that's not walking around with track marks, and you can see. And I'm not talking about on their arms.
Or more acceptable. It should be more acceptable for men. I think I would really love for that, because there would be so many men that would sigh a big relief if it were more acceptable, and they would look fantastic.
Well, here's the thing: the world doesn't see wearing hair as looking fantastic because of old school toupees. So it is still the brunt.
They look terrible. The old school look terrible. But arguably the new stuff, like if done right, the new stuff looks better than any natural head of hair if done right from the things that I've seen.
Oh,
like that looks better than the
insane.
guy when he was
right here on YouTube. It's like you can do a search for hair system or like putting on a hair system or whatever. And there's some guys out there that have their YouTube channels talking about how to do it properly, and it looks fantastic. Like these guys are artists.
But they're bald shamed, and their hair work. They're shamed by society because a guy's not supposed to be able to take care of that. So we have to walk around looking different than we want to look. We've lost something that we have. We're not trying to. Men aren't trying to augment something. We're not putting silicone orbs in our bodies.
We're trying to look like when we were younger. That's it. We just want to have that hair that we always had growing up.
But especially when the guys are losing it young, when they're 21, 22 years old, I feel sorry for these guys. And I was lucky enough to find medication early on. But I feel sorry for these guys that don't feel that's an option, and they'll jump into surgery because they think that's a more natural option, or that's more socially acceptable to have a hair transplant now than to wear a system, when, at least with a system, if they don't like it anymore, they can just throw that shit out. That's it. And they're done with it. So I think that's a good question. And so the answer to your question is absolutely. I mean, I think that the problem is most people don't know how to get them. They go to these clubs, and when you go to one of these clubs, they sell you the thickest possible system possible that looks like a fucking rug, because they don't want it falling apart. You pay $3,000 for a piece, or you join a monthly service thing. They don't want it falling apart on you. So they don't realize that you can buy stuff online that essentially it's like disposable contact lenses that is paper thin. That, it's not going to last very long. It's going to fall apart, within a month. But they just, you buy 12 of them, $200 a pop, and that's it. Get them cut in. Tremendous maintenance. I don't know if I would have the patience at this point in my life, but I think it's an option that's sadly just made fun of.
Yeah.
And women have that option. Listen, there's a lot of bald women out there you would never know that are wearing hair. That's it.
Well, maybe one day we'll catch up. They'll let it be acceptable to do things like that, because I think that's what everybody should try: shaving your head first, then try a system, and if you're okay with Propecia or finasteride, whatever, before you do these surgeries. I mean, it's like when I got my eye. I got to get off the phone because I've been on for a while.
You really do, because
this.
we got like a whole board full of calls, and Joe's like, wrap this motherfucker up.
I'll get off. I'll leave it for another time.
That means you don't call back.
Always great. Always great talking to you, man. I hope you feel better. Have not seen you in a long time. So you're obviously not at the restaurant anymore.
No, I'm not. I've moved on as it is. I can't really go back there.
Are you back in LA, or are you in Alaska still?
Oh, I live in LA. I'm in LA. I'm near Encino.
Okay. Cool.
Anyways, yeah, I'll give a call next time. You guys have a great show. Nice talking to you.
All right, man. Listen, great talking to you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right, so my computer died. You want to? Let's just take one more call. You got time, Joe?
I'm dying here. I'm starving. Okay. All right. Okay.
You're hungry.
I'm starving. I haven't eaten all day. Let's do it.
Jesus.
Let's do it. Make sure this
Trying to
caller knows how lucky they are.
Trying to save lives here, dude. Jesus. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hey, man. How are you?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Hello, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, what can we do for you, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good, pretty good. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
So I'm Jonathan, calling from up north, Sacramento.
Welcome, Jonathan. What can we do for you, man?
Hey, first of all, I'm going to tell you both, you guys are, you compliment each other. I know Joe is starving right now, and I'm going to make it quick. So, so I got a FUE surgery probably in my early 30s, and then it just, man, I kept receding.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm pretty much like a Norwood, I would say, for what would you guys advise me to do? I am taking Propecia for the last 45 days and minoxidil. What should I just stay that route? Should I consider a transplant? I know that's the last option. In my age, by the way, I'm in between Joe. I believe he said he was 49. Spencer, I believe you are around 50.
I'm 54.
Yeah, so I'm right in between age. I am African American. I don't know if that makes any difference.
It actually does.
I'm kind of right.
Yeah.
I mean, besides, we're all cool, right? We're all cool, right?
Yeah, besides that, but listen, black hair matters, man. Black hair matters.
It does. So kind of like, I'm stuck in the middle, I'm stuck in the middle.
All right. Well,
here's
I'll let Joe answer. Go ahead.
So you started off with, I'm going to assume, can I assume that you had hairline work done when you're in your early 30s? That's what you had done?
Yeah, like I want to say 29. It was 29.
Okay.
And
you had the procedure, had your hairline done, and then you continued to thin out and recede behind it because you weren't on medication. Is your current situation one where your thinning area is just flat out bald, or is it just thin and you notice it, or you got people commenting about it?
So it's thin, and the last 45 days is starting to be fuzzy. The Propecia is actually, Propecia minoxidil is actually doing a surprisingly good job, but I mean, it just looks so crazy right now, and I know I have to give it time. So,
well, here's the thing.
I'm just
you're already noticing benefit at 45 days. That means that you should do absolutely nothing except what you're doing already. Stay the course. Keep using medication. Keep listening to the show, listening to us, but stick with your routine and let it do what it's going to do, because if you're getting results at 45 days, you're just beginning, and you got potentially a lot more development to come, to where 6 months, 8 months, a year from now, you'll be looking at surgery as something that's completely foreign to your future, that there's no need for it whatsoever. You could have a fantastic result. And I love hearing about guys having early results like you are. So yeah, do nothing, no surgery. Don't even add anything else to your regimen. Don't do lasers, don't do PRP. Stick with what's working now. Don't introduce anything else into it, and just monitor it closely. And call us back in a few months. Let us know how it's going.
And again, we got to let you know that we're not physicians here, but the reality is if you could avoid having another surgery, you've waited this long. Being the fact that you said you're a black guy, and when you had the surgery, you probably had strip surgery, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes,
so what's your scar like?
Scar.
Big scar.
It was a really good suture job, but it's still a line, on the back of my head. And so that's probably the second part. How can I camouflage that? I mean, I'm looking at it. I mean, it's not keloid or anything. It's just like a line. You know, I used to
Are you
get
shaping your
away
head, or are
with.
you cutting it really tight?
Yeah, I have, but I'm planning on just letting it grow out. And I used to can cover it, but because I started to wear my hair real short, you know, still it shows. So I was wondering along the way, what could I use, or what do you guys potentially suggest I use to camouflage that FUT scar?
Well, I mean, if you depending on your skin characteristics and your hair characteristics and the color of the scar, I mean, there are some good camouflage agents like Dermatch. There's sprays. There's things that you can use that will give you some camouflage. And also, if you are able to grow your hair out a little bit longer, which I don't think you probably want to do, that could help to camouflage the scar as well. I would not even consider doing anything surgical. Do not get a tattoo. Do not go in for SMP. All these guys are selling on Instagram and online and all this shit. It could be, for some people it could work. For some people it's a disaster.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, again, guys, I'm gonna put this out there in the world. You guys compliment each other, and I started listening to you guys, and I said, you know what? These guys are giving guys like me a lot of hope. And sometimes you meet the haters out there, and you know the people that's on YouTube, just so you can ferret out the nonsense. And of course, as we get older, we can ferret it out. You know, we've seen it before. So at this point, I'm gonna say you guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Dude, I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot, and I wish you the best of luck. And just, I think.
All right, I'm gonna check back in a couple of months, and keep you guys updated. I'll send some pictures.
If you have any questions, between the time, feel free to call. That's what we're here for.
All right, Spencer. I really appreciate you guys' time. Joe, have a good dinner, snack, and your latest one, man. You looking great, bro.
Thank you. Very kind of you.
All right,
dude. Take care. Thanks a lot. Okay. Have a good night.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You too.
All right. Now, we have a full board, but Joe's hungry, so we're not going to take any more calls. So, guys, what we will do is, if you want to, you check out my Instagram page, and please take the time to follow me on Instagram. We have to take over Instagram. We have to be the voice of this field on Instagram, because sadly what's out there is a lot of bullshit. A lot of people are damaging the lives of unsuspecting, vulnerable social media users. That's just the way that it is. I think I have a grand total of like 980 followers or something like that, trying to do this thing organically. And all we need is to hit a certain tipping point, and I know it's just going to explode. We're out here, we're telling you guys the truth. And, listen, the reality is the entire field of cosmetic surgery has run a fucking muck. But the hair world is insane. So, guys, we're not going to take any more calls. I appreciate you holding on. We're going to call a night. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody and end this stream on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in. And there's my thumb. Take it easy, guys. And I'm going to share this. Joe, give out the websites.
Yeah, websites. We got, let's start off with hairlossexperiences.com. It's primarily a UK-based forum, but being on the interwebs, everyone's got access to it. Lots of great clinics that are sharing their results and patients sharing their experiences. And the owner of Hair Loss Experiences is a hair repair or hair transplant repair patient himself, and he is working hard behind the scenes helping other hair transplant repair patients find the help that they need. So go over to hairlossexperiences.com and show your support. That's hairlossexperiences.com. Check them out. We've also got bellycapelli.forumfree.it. It's the Italian hair loss and hair restoration forum. Again, operated by a repair patient, very good friend of mine. I've known him for about 16 years now. Just a super nice guy. Really supports our message and allows us to stream this broadcast through his very, very popular website. Clinic sharing results, patient sharing experiences. Check him out, bellycapelli.forumfree.it. And finally, we've got the French Hair Loss and Hair Restoration Forum. That's international-hairlossforum.com. Again, clinics sharing the results and patients sharing their very in-depth experiences. Great website, great resource. That's international-hairlossforum.com. Check them out.
And guys, the baldtruth.com for archives of this broadcast. I just got an image from our guy Graham in Australia, who's watching us on his, it looks like it's about a 55-inch television set. Damn, I look good. Just kidding. Actually, I'm not. Why can't I be honest?
Why not? Of course.
Graham, thank you for sending me that picture. TheBaldTruth.com archives of this broadcast, and it is the official website of the Bald Truth Radio Show. Also, check out BaldTruthTalk.com for archives for if you want to interact with other hair loss sufferers. It's the message forum, and I'm not a fan of message forums. We had to have one. We had to have one. I was asked to put this up about a decade ago because of all the nonsense that's going on, or that was going on, in the old school forum world. And so I did, but I did it with great reluctance because I know that these places can be cesspools and very difficult to manage and deal with all the spam. And, you know, we moderated very heavily, and we've been criticized for that. We're not really criticized for that anymore, but we do that for your protection because these are ugly, nasty, toxic places.
Yep.
That is the reality. And in a way, I'm glad that social media is kind of moving people out of that direction of the forum world. But you know, now it's real. Things are really run amok. But at least it's not being. These things aren't being run by, you know, individual, small time business owners who. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to cause any more fucking trouble. But you know, the reality is it's a very, very ugly place, but we do our best to run a safe, well-moderated, completely, honestly transparent forum because there's nothing happening behind the scenes. There's no PMing system, so everything has to be transparent. So if you write it, it's public. If you don't want to put something out there that's public, then don't post. If you try to destroy someone's reputation, defame someone anonymously, basically bash someone's hair transplant, that shit is not allowed. There are other forums for that. Plenty of them exist. That's not going to happen on Bald Truth Talk. The American Hair Loss Association is AmericanHairLoss.org. Joe Tillman's personal website, hairtransplantmentor.com for everything Joe Tillman, for his entire life's journey as far as his hair loss journey. And, you know, just for a lot of good hair loss information, check out hairtransplantmentor.com. And please, guys, go to Joe's YouTube channel and subscribe. That's youtube.com/hairtransplantmentor. Subscribe. You'll be able to see the live show and kind of get notified once you're a subscriber when we go live. The only way you can get notified, though, is to ring that bell when you subscribe. And also, if you're in the chat room right now, which I cannot see because my computer died, like the fucking broadcast. It's not that hard.
We got some good likes. 21.
Okay. We should have 50.
We should.
That's it. It's not that hard. We're doing this for nothing, people. Joe's starving to death. He hasn't eaten all day. He's hangry.
I am hangry.
All right, guys. Until next time. Oh, and the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons is IAHRS.org. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Have a good night.
Good night.
Any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.